800, 2 flat point 75. 2 flat point 75. For 800, yeah. It looks messier, but I'm sure this is the plan. Like, there's just guys everywhere.
What's she making her face in this fashion?
She looks like she's training. She's working really hard. Even like a bit of a grimace then too. Like, she does not look relaxed in her face. Watch Grant Fisher keeps looking around. Like, he's the most concerned person for her. Stewie's on the outside of her there. Nah, there's a big gap now. There's a big gap. They're all starting to... Craig Engels is looking behind. I'm calling it at the bell. It's not going to happen. This front group are like way too far ahead. 3:01. Oh. Timing says yes. The way she looks says no. She's still on the green lights. Stewie's in her ear. Elliott and Joey Benoit Salmonson had just got on the track to hold the banner. It's not going to happen. A lot of paces are pulled. Stewie's at 5 paces to go with 100 metres. 3:55, 56, 57. 4 flat there, 4:01, 4:02, 4:03. 4:06.91. 4:06.91. Crowd's going crazy where I am. Elliott's just giving our boy Stewie McSwain a high five. She's on the track, she's laying down. Media everywhere around her. Kenyan flag around her. Elliott and Patrick Sang, first two to kind of like embrace her. Weird kind of vibe. I think too fast, too early, yeah. It almost looked like they panicked in the first 150 to all get in positions, because she went through 100 metres, I think, in like 14 seconds.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Hey, you've reached Brady. I can't get to the phone right now, but if you leave a message, I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Ugh, this guy. Send him all the way over to Paris. You know, he's too good to answer the bloody phone. Hey Brady, mate, hope Paris went well. Just calling in for a bit of a debrief. Not sure where you're at. I was trying to get a hold of you, so keen to chat, mate. I think your flight landed last night, so it looks like you didn't stuff up. Didn't get sent home early, didn't get us cancelled, so that's a win. But nah, give us a bell, mate. I'm very keen to hear how it all went down over there.
2 hours later.
Hey, mate.
Oh, mate, you finally answered your phone. You got out of the business class lounge and managed to have a chat to me, mate. How are you?
Mate, I am cooked. Going to Europe and back for like 3 days has absolutely cooked my body clock, so I apologise for missing your call. But I'm here now, boss. It was unreal. Have you got like 20, 25 minutes so I can recap it for you?
Yeah, pretty keen, mate. Like I saw you early with a few posts on the plane. Looked like a pretty sweet setup on there, right, getting over there, and then just catch it. It's just seeing your stories and seeing what you got to witness. I'm pretty keen to hear. But who'd you go over there in the end with?
Yeah, you feel like a bit of a flog putting up those posts from business class, don't you? But it's probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me. So I'm like, I've got to do it. I've got to flex on a couple of my old high school mates.
Yeah.
I've really got to like show them that look, we've got our 20-year school reunion this year. So I'm like, I've got to get in early to be like, I've progressed in life since year 12. But now when I
got some Aussies?
Yeah, there was 5 of us. So which I felt was interesting, like who they selected to be the 5. So of course it was me from Inside Running Podcast. And then we had Mac from Tempo Journal. He creates some cool stuff. So I hadn't met him before, but it was good to meet him at the airport. Luke was there. He's a journalist from the Financial Review. So good to have like a real professional journalism journalist.
Top tips.
Well, I feel bad being over there and not being a qualified journalist. So it was great to pick Luke's brain throughout the trip. Jackie was there. She's the editor of Body and Soul magazine, and Izzy from Pedestrian TV. So, and then we had 2 Nike staff like Kerry and Vanessa. So that was really really good group. You know what these kind of trips are like. If you don't get a good group, it can feel like a bit of like school camp kind of vibes and be a long 2 or 3 days. But we went for runs together. We went out for meals together. Any bit of spare time we kind of spent together, and it was just really good to see different people from different sections of the media and how they kind of do their work. And we all had like different things that we had to produce from this trip. So obviously we're podcast format, but they had articles and social media stuff. So discussing what it was like for each of us to be able to create content out of the trip was interesting. I guess we probably all had different strengths and weaknesses throughout the trip as well. So I had a lot of fun with that group.
Yeah, sounds like a good learning experience as well.
Yeah, it certainly was.
Mate, about Nike stuff, because I know they had all the heavy hitters over there. Did you get a chance to chat with it? Is it Brett Kirby, the guy that sort of the head of the project?
Yeah.
I know. And hey, how did he go with your accent? I know with the Moama twang. How did the Americans go with that?
That was pretty good. I thought about it on the way home. Maybe I should have slowed down my speech a bit so they could understand me. But listening back to some of the audio, I was surprised. They all understood what I was trying to ask them. So Brett, he was the guy in the documentary. If anyone's watched that, the one on Amazon Prime leading in, his title is Principal Scientist of Applied Performance Innovation at Nike. So do your best to understand what that actually means. But he was the man. Like, he was the guy looking at performance from all different angles. We spoke to him afterwards, and obviously the attempt didn't go to plan. But when we caught up post-event, he was pretty good. He spoke about like the pacing strategy, how they chose those people, how the big decisions were made. And I also asked him what he'd do differently. So, Zaka, do you want to hear it? Do you want to hear from Brett Kirby, the principal scientist of applied performance innovation at Nike?
Yeah. Hit me with it, mate.
All right, mate, here he is. Brett, we saw you behind, like you looked like the master, like looking down the track last night. When you're watching, when did you start getting concerned that sub 4 might not be on? Was there something visually that you saw at some stage of the race? Because the splits looked great up to a lap to go.
Yeah, I kind of waited to the end, the last 200. Then you start to see, like, is there a possibility she could come back? But then after that, you realize she's just giving the maximum there. Yeah. Because even at the 1200, I thought, don't throw it all away. You got to believe it through.
Yeah.
From a drafting pacing point of view, I think we saw in the first episode of the documentary series, you're sort of working with 5 paces. From an outsider's perspective, from the public, we didn't know what was going to be happening from a drafting perspective. So when we saw 10 plus athletes last night, it probably took a few people by surprise. At what point did you decide that was the perfect number? Make that change from, say, 4 or 5 to 10?
So it's a building process, right? On paper, you sort of dream out what you have. There's a lot of puzzle pieces we can do, and we call CFD, computational fluid dynamics. That's the way you analyze aerodynamics. But then after a while, you realize we have to practice it. So when we go out to the track, we're having practice sessions over and over, and at first it'd start with 5 just to get the base formation together. So maybe what we've seen by the pictures you reference are just the base formation saying, is this feasible? And once we check that box, and it's like, is this feasible? And slowly add these puzzle pieces on. Our language may have said, we have the shield portion, we have the spoiler portion, we have the backdraft portion, and we have the reserve portion. So maybe it's just this building process that ultimately came. That was maybe what was seen on the end that people hadn't seen before. Once you realize also that there's different strategies that could play out in the race, we needed all the teammates there collectively. So you have them all coming together saying, I want to participate, I want to be there to support, and each of them has their independent role. One, Elliott Giles is in the front, he's looking to maintain the pace. Maybe you have Grant Fisher, who's really to say, I am here for you no matter what. I want you to feel me, my presence, you're never alone. And you have some teammates in the back, our friends from Kenya, let's say, that are right, say, if it gets really hard, I will make sure that we're here for you and you hear us, and we'll keep you going forward. So over time, the 13 is just building the different puzzle pieces to pull off the whole thing.
It seemed like watching it that Grant had that almost leadership role, like his head seemed to twist more than anyone else. Like that was a distinctive move to have somebody of his, he's a 2-time medalist at the recent Olympic Games, like he was in that special seat for a reason.
He was.
Yeah.
He was intentional there. He was intentional because we wanted Faith, and Faith wanted to feel somebody right by her side. She wanted to know that there was no time in this race that I'm ever alone. These teammates are all around her, but there's something when I'm right next to a person and then they can hear you talk and they can sense and be in synchrony. So Grant's job, his head twisting, is really say like, I'm just checking on you. I'm always here for you, whatever you need.
The relationship between you and the training in Kenya leading in, like, did you guys have access to training splits, current shape she was in? It's a long geography, like it's a long way. Like you put a lot of trust in. They're going to bring her in the perfect condition, hopefully, and you guys can add the innovation on top of that. Like, was it? I can imagine it's back and forth, and you have access to what she was doing in training.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I would say it's more integrated.
Yeah.
So there's less this group.
Okay.
Is we're one team, we're one unified group that says, here, how's the fitness progressing? How can we support you? What do you need? And you just go back and forth and you start to mix the pot as one group. So it's less add-on separately, but work together in a unified way.
Yeah.
So the access to that training, we can give feedback and provide support.
And last one for me, like, do you come away from that and be like, all right, this is the top of the list that I think we can alter, like, straight away? Like, does anything stand out to you? You're like, oh, if I could go back 24 hours, that would be a tweak I'd make instantly?
No, I feel pretty good. Like, I feel like she did what she needed to do out there, gave a good go. And sometimes I was reflecting last night, getting to the start line is really, really, really hard. She got to that start line and then she was like, okay, I'm here. I'm going to go for it. And she went and did what she needed to do. And then there's a finish line. So I think collectively it's this progress forward. So today we're here 24 hours later, let's say not quite even 24. And there's already progress that's been made. We've had somebody, Faith, who's just tried it and said before that, nobody had ever even tried it. We didn't even know what the darkness looked like, and now we have, so thanks to Faith for that.
Were you ever concerned about, like, the pressure on one individual? Like, with the Breaking 2, it was 3 people, and like, she was the one star of the show, and that's a lot to deal with in the days, like the running world, the general sporting world's watching one person.
It's a lot, yeah. It's a lot. I think that's why those teammates were critical. They had to play a lot of roles. It's an understatement to just call them pacers. They're really teammates. They're friends or relationships that lift up. So yeah, it's a lot of pressure to have all that on one shoulder, and hopefully she felt really supported by the fans out there and the spirit of all of the people around her.
Thank you. Australia's done.
Yeah, good, mate. That's a good insights there, and yeah. He actually sounded a bit more upbeat than I thought, to be honest. I guess, yeah, no, it's really interesting to hear the detail. And, yeah, what about our boy Kipchoge, mate? Did you manage to snag a chat with him?
Oh, mate, we had to catch up with the GOAT, Eliud Kipchoge, friend of the show. People would have heard him back on episode I don't know, I'm going to say 385, back when he was on for Sydney Marathon, when we got that one question with him. Everyone knows.
You listened to the show?
Yeah, I think so. He gave me a big smile when he saw my face and stuff. So this is interaction number 2 for me. Mm-hmm. So,
you had him on the ropes last time, didn't you?
Sydney Marathon press conference into Breaking 4. So I think he recognises my face now. So, that was good. So we got 2 questions with him. So we had to do a little brainstorm. Obviously 5 Australian representatives, only 2 questions. We put our heads together and we knew that one question had to be about visiting Sydney. Like, he's doing media all day. So it's like, how do you get a question in there that's going to get a bit of personality out of him? A lot of the questions, which is fair enough, were directed to him about Faith Kipyegon, whereas I wanted to ask a question more about him. Like, I congratulated him on London. You'll hear it in a second, and then asked him about Sydney. So I'll plug that audio in now, mate. But yeah, his face lit up really well. When Croaks' face lights up when you ask him about pacemaking stuff?
Yeah.
That was Kipchoge, and he gave us a little bit of
glint in the eye.
Yeah, we've got to put it on our socials. Got this really cute smile out of him.
Telling me I should maybe get on him now.
What, is someone to watch?
It's Sydney. Yeah. Nah, Sydney. He's gonna pull off a big one.
Well, he beat Tamarat Tola at London. He ran 2:05.
Oh, yeah, don't sleep on him.
He's back. He's back. So we haven't seen the elite men's field yet either, have we? Seen the elite women's last week. So
You can't count a champion out like that.
maybe they've run out of cash as well. Kipchoge, Safana San, the women's field's still pretty deep. Like he might be just up against a couple of Aussie boys, Reece Edwards, Liam Adams. Those
Very
kind of
exciting, mate. You might end up just taking him out for a shakeout run when he gets here.
I did think that, like, if there's any way I can get a bit of eye contact with him at Sydney Marathon, he's going to recognise me.
Yeah,
Like,
he will for sure.
we're
He'll
brothers
hear the
now.
voice. Once he hears the twang.
Let's throw to him, mate. You'll hear me asking the question and also Izzy from Pedestrian TV. She got question number 1 about what his message was going to be to Faith Kipyegon in the minutes leading up to her attempt.
Okay, sweet.
This is a historic moment for women in sport. What is the last piece of advice you will give Faith before she steps out onto the track?
My last piece of advice to give Faith is that you have been dreaming all the time. You have been thinking about this event. And now it's a high time to do it. Go for it because she has what it takes for her to break the 4-minute barrier.
Elliott, congratulations on your result at the London Marathon, the 2:05. Sydney Marathon next for you. How is the current form? We would love to see you win on Australian soil.
Thank you for the wish for the congratulations. But my training is going on well towards Sydney Marathon. I want to go to Australia to spread the positivity of running, make more Australians actually to run more. You know, statistics show that 30% of the Australians are leading in the whole world. 30% of the Australians actually are runners. And that's why I'm going there. Aussie.
Brady, what about the shoe? So breaking 2, that was their main play, wasn't it? It was a main innovation. First time we saw the super shoe, I think after that we were all absolutely converted. We were all chasing, trying to get our hands on a pair. But I feel like the spike, it flew under the radar a bit. Like, I don't know. Moose is pretty tight with Elliott Heath. He had something to do with it, yeah? He was the big dog on this project for the shoe, the spike.
He was. He spoke to us, Zacco, and we'll hear from him in a second. He's also a 3:57 miler in his own right. I felt like people in that media room probably knew him as the guy who's working on the shoes, not that he's actually achieved a sub 4-minute mile himself as well. Chatted to him. And you're right about breaking 2. Like, they never released images of the 4% before that, did they? That was the first day we saw it. Whereas at least this time we got to see the spike, like, leading into it, which looked really, really good. And Elliott was nice enough to give us some of his time. And you'll hear a few questions going towards him now. Yeah, Elliott, was there temptation to go with a higher stack height with the foam, given that you didn't have to stick to the World Athletic Guidelines with this attempt?
Yeah, so early on we looked at a lot of different options. We kind of put basically all rules and everything aside. We looked at options that were outside the regulations, things that might look quite wild compared to spikes and everything you've seen before. I think given the timing of the event and really just, again, that there's a huge human component to it, we tried all those things with Faith. Ultimately, it was a blend of really what she was really comfortable with now and a little bit more familiarity there, but obviously a lot of things new into this spike. So we looked at that, but ultimately the componentry and the technical specifications of this spike are within the World Athletics rules.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Elliott again. Zoom X is now 6 years old. We're seeing brands like Puma and Asics bringing out newer foams like the TPEE. Feels like we're in this arms race of foams in shoes. Where do you see the future of Zoom X?
Yeah, I think there's Zoom X is becoming. It started as just one thing that was Zoom X meant same material, same manufacturing processes, all of that. As we've expanded Zoom X and the production and bringing that benefit into other shoes, even training shoes and the race side, we're pushing the edges there. So Zoom X is kind of a category of very high performing foam, but we're pushing it forward. And I think the only thing in addition to that is I think every brand at this point is experimenting with innovation of foams. I think what's great about our technology and the system of speed we're working on is that we're working on foam and air together. Yeah. So that offers a lot more levers to kind of put the whole system together, and how does it all ultimately perform. So that's what's most exciting to me, is innovating within the foam space as well as the air for her.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Brady, I want to hear big picture. So you were in amongst some heavy hitters, a huge hospitality, a massive event they put on. Nike, what's your impression as a whole, as a brand, as what they're doing out there, like with this event?
Extremely eye-opening, mate. Like, you realise pretty quick that they're global powerhouse in a way. Like, I looked up their market cap, $106 billion. And you could tell, like, you were just in the presence of some, like, big dogs at the time. Like, we had this kind of, like, courtyard set up, and at one stage there was this man kind of standing near us, and people just kept coming up and, like, getting introduced to him. And he had, like, a minder. So, like, there was this lady, one of the comms people, who was just always by his side in this courtyard. And I kind of, like, started Googling him because I, like, wasn't sure exactly who it was. So I'm typing in, like, Nike CEO, Nike board chair, all these kind of things. And it turned out it was, like, the board executive, like Mark Parker. He also sits on the board of Disney. And his wife actually had the world record in 1978 for the 5K. So I was reading all these things off ChatGPT as he was standing about 10 meters from me. But they're very protective of their staff. Like that's one good example, that, you know, the comms lady's right next to him, and every one of their staff. Like every one of the interviews we did, there was staff sitting in on those to make sure that the direction, I guess, the questions were going in the right direction. You can tell they've just had hours and hours of media training. Like if you want to see a good example of staff that represent their brand so well, and they're like their messaging and those ethos and all those kind of things, this was a great example. So 150 different media reps rolled through this kind of function center over those 3 days. So it was kind of no joke. It was very, very thorough. There was times when you'd do a little interview and then turn the mics off and almost like want to have a bit of banter and talk a bit of, you know, off the record kind of stuff, but you were quickly whisked away. Like it was because the next media group pretty much had to go through. So extremely tight ship. And it was a massive difference to what I'm used to seeing at Echuca Primary School, and kind of like some of the guests that we kind of deal with when, you know, jump down rabbit holes and you might have 70 minutes with people. It was very structured and very thorough.
I mean, look, we could probably get Croaks and Moose to do a little bit more media training just to amp things up a little bit with the way they interact sometimes. But no, that is eye-opening. Hey, Faith, did she give it like straight after the race? Did she go straight into a press conference, or was there a bit of time between it? And tell me about that, because that would have been interesting straight after that race.
Straight after, like she wouldn't have even cooled down. Maybe like 10 minutes afterwards, but that was, you know, a bit of stuff on the track, a few photos, and then tracksuit would have been on and straight into the press conference, which started a bit kind of tense. There was 5 of them up there as well, which I felt strange that they'd put 5 different people up on stage for a press conference, and I guess they had to plan that, not knowing if she was going to run 350, 359 or 410. Like
Brett up there.
Yeah, so Brett was up there. You had one of the Nike innovation team leaders, Amy, who was in charge of, I think, like the kit and stuff. That was her responsibility. You had Patrick Sago, coach.
Oh, yeah.
Faith, and then Valentine, her manager. He kind of featured a bit he's like works on the Jos Hermans.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen him like front and center as well. Like I was surprised how much he spoke in the documentary, because I always thought he was a bit of like the puppet master. Like he kind of always like you go watch Ineos, both Ineos and Breaking 2, and he's on the bike next to Kipchoge for those whole 42K. Like he's the one in the doco who's on the warm-up track with her before that 1K race. Like, this is the right-hand man. Started a bit icy, started a bit tense, but she very quickly relaxed And you'll hear in this audio I'm about to throw to that she had some really good jokes about the pacing lights, which I don't want to spoil now. But yeah, pretty open. And then I think everyone in the media room there was just, I don't know, just really appreciated that she took a swing at it, didn't pull it off, but how kind of brave it was that she had to go. Let's hear from her now, mate.
Perfect. Let's hear. Let me have a listen.
I would say this was the first trial. We learned in many. I've learned many lessons from this race, and I think going forward, I will go back to the drawing board and see where I can still improve to get it right, to get it where I want to be. And I still dare to try, I've seen it's possible, and one day, one time it will just, come to my way. It's about the wave lights, have fit and wave, it's made so many times. Like when I was going for the world record in 1500, I was faster than the light. So today it was, when you are going for a faster thing like today, you can't concentrate on the light, you just concentrate how the body feels, because you gave up everything. So I gave everything today to try, it was not all about, running a tactical race or going for the world record, but it was just a special race whereby you just have to give everything. So I gave everything, and I think the wave lights also gave everything. So the wave the wave light gave everything, and I think it was wave light time today, and I think next time I will catch up with the lights. Well, I would say I give it all. How I started and how I finished, it was like one pace, because it was, if you give everything, like if you give it all, you will not feel like you needed to, push more, because if you give everything, it's everything. So for me, I gave it all, and I think next time I will still keep it, give it all again to see where I will make it. But I hope one day, one time, it will be there. So the crowd was, I was feeling like the noise was really pushing me to that finish line, and that kept me going, and just remembering the next generation of young girls around the world to push themselves to what they do.
Jackie from Sydney, Australia. Kenya has played such an important part in your running journey. At home, when you were preparing for this, what was the most important piece of training or workout that you did to give you the confidence to take on such an audacious challenge?
My favorite was the track sessions. I think I was so confident when I do like speed session. That is where I can if I can do 62 times 8 in that just very small recovery, I got so confident that this is possible. And getting that strong training, spiritual trainings, you get a little bit I get speed. I only need a little bit of endurance to be where I am. So I also happy to do the speed work and get confident from it. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. But I will say this was different race with different setups and different everything was totally different compared to when I'm racing in the Olympics or World Championship with my other competitors. But for this you have to give it all. For this you have to run against time and run against to show the next generation that we have to push ourselves towards something we dream of. But in our championship, like Olympics, you are running for the gold, to be the first one to cross the line and go for that gold medal. But this race was about showing the world that we have to push ourselves. We don't have to limit ourselves in everything we do. If you are a doctor or a nurse, or you have to wake up in the morning and just go for that thing you want in life, because it will never come to you. You have to try and go for it.
What about the quote she ended with, Zaka? It will never come to you. You've got to go for it. I feel like I've been telling you that for years in some of my motivational sessions with you.
Yeah, you have, but it hits a bit deeper when it comes from someone like Faith.
Sure.
But look, yeah, I've heard a few motivational speeches over time, and you've tried to have a crack at some, but no, it's a good quote. It's what about Coach Sang? Like his role, he's got a connection to Australia, doesn't he? Isn't he tight with Sean Crichton?
Yeah. Remember the Sean Crichton interview?
Did you
He
spot
said,
him, or
yeah, well, Sean Crichton spoke about how Patrick Sang taught him how to run slow on easy days. Like, he was the man. Still needs to pass that lesson on to Croaks, but yeah. So we've rolled out of the press conference, had to walk past the warm up track where all the big boys are doing their workout, and then Stewie was cooling down. So I just kind of yelled out to Stewie. It was kind of like the one time over the weekend that I feel like we snuck into a bit of a restricted area. If people knew that we were media, I feel like because Stewie waved back to us and then came over to the side of the track, I feel like maybe people thought we were not media for a few minutes there. So it was good to chat with Stewie, and then Patrick Sang kind of walked past, and Stewie kind of grabbed him and said, "Hey, you got to meet these people." So Paddy Sang's put out his hand to shake. I was shaking his hand. We started talking about Sydney. It was kind of surreal because as this is happening, this is only a 4-lane track. We're talking to Pat Sang and Stewie in lane 4. And then you've got Grant Fisher and all the other pacers doing 300-meter reps in lane 3. So it was just like some very big dogs all in the one spot there. And, he did make a joke about how Sydney's so far away when I asked him if he was going to come out with Kipchoge when Sydney Marathon's on. And it didn't seem – he's doing it, but he didn't seem too, motivated to get on the plane for that many hours, which I can definitely relate to after doing it there and back. Over the last week. So awesome to catch Patrick Sang. Got some audio here with him in the press conference, which I found really interesting, and you can probably read into it as much as you want, how he talks about the nerves and the stress they were under in the days leading in. So I did have my hand up to ask a question like, how did Faith's stress compare to this compared to an Olympic final or a Diamond League or something else she's competed in the past?
Well, the spotlight, we saw it in the coverage, just how intense it was, and just having that build up around one athlete and having a whole team, whole innovation, that's a lot. I wonder how that bodes for her going forward though, because of how easy would a Diamond League be now, or a championship, because she's dealt with all that pressure and she's just like, I've handled all that. This might actually help her mentally.
Even the training effect, she pretty much smacked 1,200 meters, 3 laps in just over 3 minutes. She's never going to do that in training. So I wouldn't be surprised at, this week at Prefontaine Classic if she comes out and, breaks the world record over 1,500.
Cut that one up.
Yeah. There's my whisper of the week. Let's go to Paddy Sang, though, our boy.
Yes.
Sean Crichton's mate. Let's hear from him, Zaka, before we bring this episode home.
As a coach, I think we did proper planning in terms of preparation towards this event. And of course, Faith gave her best. Looking back, is there anything that we could have done better? I don't think so. We gave our best in planning, execution, and today she gave her best. I was a bit stressed also, like Faith. We are all stressed, because we have a big team, and each team plays their role, and all the time you're thinking, did I do well in playing my role? So the stress was always there from the beginning, but it was more the last few days. So stress, I think, is part of any journey when you aim for something higher than the ordinary.
Mate, you've done well. Geez, I knew when I sent you over for this assignment that you were going to be working on it, working hard, and you've done some great work getting that audio access to people. I think just your insights being on the ground is like unbelievable for the listeners. And I know there was a lot of hype back here in Australia, and then now to encapsulate that. So definitely, I think you've done really well, Matt. So I think you
mate.
put a bit of heat on Croaks now when he gets the call up for the next trip.
Trip 3. He'll be going to the third chapter of the Nike breaking whatever, hopefully.
Yes. Yeah.
Get him running with a couple of the run crews over there down the streets, blowing whistles, waving flags. Croaks would absolutely love that.
Yeah.
But I did, Zach, I recorded some closing thoughts on the way home on the plane. So I'm gonna leave you with that now. Bit of a diary entry, and that will close the book on the Faith Kipyegon versus the 4-minute mile podcast project that me and you have been working on.
Love it. All right, mate. I'll keen to hear this.
Hey team, just walking back to my car now. Long trip, but we're there. A couple of hours drive home, which should be good. Just penned some thoughts on the plane that I want to share with you guys. First one, is it important that she failed? In this world, I know that sounds weird, but in this world where we see all these what the hell moments in distance running that have occurred over the last, couple of years. Think about Kipton's 2-hour marathon. Think about Chepngetich when she ran 2:09 at Chicago. Think about Kiplimo, 56 minutes for a half marathon. I don't know about you guys, but I was kind of just starting to expect that everything just gets broken when you set out to do it. So there was something in the beauty, I think, of Faith not being able to go under 4 minutes for the mile and seeing her struggle. We very rarely see these people at the top end run, a slow last lap. You could almost see the point in the race when the bear jumped on her back. You guys know that feeling. We've all had that feeling when the bear jumps on your back close to the end of a race and you got nothing left. I think there was some beauty in it, seeing the greatest female middle distance runner of all time, seeing her struggle over the last lap of the mile there, and to see the mile win, which is, it's good. It's good still to have barriers in our sport that we need to chase down, and we don't actually don't smash every single time we go. I get the criticism, using that flying time or net time instead of gun time. That's definitely something new for track and field. We haven't seen that before. It felt a bit sneaky when I was kind of reading into that. But then I also thought, it's their race. They can do what they want. They never set out to make it a sanctioned track and field meet. So does not surprise me that they were trying to find as many seconds as possible over those 4 laps. I can see why the traditional track and field fans are triggered. But yeah, I think you just need to come back to this wasn't that. Oregon, Portland, Diamond League, that's back this weekend. So you can get those vibes back this weekend. This was very much like a standalone event, a flex from Nike of their tech, their innovation. On Nike, how excited now are we to see what the third chapter in the trilogy is going to be? We saw Kipchoge with breaking 2, and then obviously Ineos come in, and they snatched that kind of 1:59, and now we're seeing Faith with breaking 4. Not sure how many years it's going to take, but I feel like there's chatter and anticipation now that Nike will put on another one of these, and it's got to be good for our sport. I'm sorry, but I've got mates who only watch running every 4 years, and they set their alarms for 4 a.m. on a Friday morning to get up and watch Faith Kipyegon try to break 4 minutes for the mile. So if this is going to be a way, these exhibition events, to get the general public paying attention to distance running, middle distance running, track and field, whatever it is, I think it's a win. And I actually, I'm super excited to see what they do next, because I like these standalone events. Anyway, I've just arrived in C6. That's where my car's been parked for 5 days. Big drive back to Moama. Thanks for tuning in. This will be at the end of a recap episode, so hopefully you've enjoyed the content and stuff. Would love to know your thoughts. Write in. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What were your thoughts? Yeah, I think she'll have a big season, Faith Kipyegon, because if nothing more, that was a great training run, and even dealing with the nerves and the pressure there, it's going to set her up for a good season. Thanks Nike for the opportunity to be there in person, and hopefully you enjoyed our coverage of it. See you guys.